In this section, we're going to talk about multiplying matrices. This is a topic that you'll see on the ACT most of the time. You'll see at least one question. And there are certain rules when you multiply matrices. First of all, not every matrice can be added, just like with addition and subtraction. With addition and subtraction, they have to be the exact same size, but that's not the case with multiplication. So with multiplication, we're going to look at each matrices and determine its dimensions. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and 2 columns. This one has 1, 2 rows and 3 columns. So when you look at the inside set of numbers, if those inside set of numbers are the same, that means that this matrice can be multiplied. The answer is determined by the two outside numbers. So since the inside numbers are the same, they're both 2, that means this can be multiplied. The answer is going to be a matrice with the dimensions of 4 by 3. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my matrice for my answer, and I'm going to make it the size of a 4 by 3. Now, in this 4 by 3 matrice, notice that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and 1, 2, 3 columns. In fact, this spot is row 1, column 1. So to find the element that we put in row 1, column 1, we're going to go back to our matrice and we're going to use row 1 of the first matrice and multiply it by column 1 of the second matrice. So row 1 times column 1 will find this new element. So I'm going to do -2 times -1 and add 0 times -1. So -2 times -1 is positive 2, and this is 0. 2 plus 0 is 2, so that is the element for row 1, column 1. Now I'm going to go back and find this spot. This spot would be row 2, column 1. So to find the number that goes in row 2, column 1, I'm going to use row 2, column 1, and do the exact same thing. So row 2 has -2 times -1, and then -3 times -1. -2 times -1 is 2, -3 times -1 is 3, and 2 plus 3 is 5, so that's the answer that goes in row 2, column 1. The next spot I want to find is row 3, column 1. So to find the answer, or the element, row 3, column 1, I'm going to use row 3, column 1. 1 times -1 is, and some of you will start doing this part in your head, plus 0 times -1. -1 plus 0 is -1. This spot is 1, 2, 3, 4 row, column 1. So this time I'm going to use row 4, column 1. First element times the first element, so 2 times -1, plus the second element times the second element. So -2 plus -4 is -6. Now we're ready to move to the next column. This time I have row 1, but now I'm using column 2. So I'm going to go back and have row 1 of the first matrice, but now I'm going to move over to column 2 to grab my elements to multiply. So this spot is row 1, column 2. So I'm using row 1, column 2. So -2 times -3 plus 0 times negative 1. So 6 plus 0, so I have a 6 in this spot right here. Let's go over and find another spot. We could keep going with this, but I think you get the idea. Let's pick this spot right here. So notice there would be elements in each of these places. But I'm going to choose to do this one right here. This would be row 3, column 3. So to find the number that goes in row 3, column 3, I'm going to use row 3, column 3 to grab my numbers. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 0 times 0 is 0. So 1 plus 0 is 1. And now you can see how it just looks very difficult, but if you just narrow in on what that particular spot is, then you know which row and which column to use.